Welcome to 4C Radio. We are broadcasting from the central campus of Christ University, Bangalore. 4C Radio is brought to you by the Department of Media Studies of Christ University. For all who are looking for a platform that focuses on communities, commons, climate, and communication, this is the place to be. What's more, the station is run by diverse students and dedicated faculty members. Tune in to experience hard hitting interviews, fact checks, and myth busting, on ground stories, campus news, and so much more. It's been a while since our last episode on campus, and we are so glad to be back after a little break. The past few weeks here at Christ University have been buzzing with activity, cultural fest, guest lectures, club events, and workshops that have kept all of us on our toes. But one of the biggest highlights for the Department of Media Studies has been our annual flagship event, Media Meet. Every year, Media Meet brings together journalists, filmmakers, and change makers to discuss the evolving world of media and storytelling. This year was no different. Our campus was alive with conversation, creativity, and ideas that reached far beyond the classroom. To give us a closer look at this incredible event, here's a report by our student journalist and one of the event's organizers, Pratyusha, and the report is followed by an exclusive interview with the keynote speaker, Rebecca Mathai.
The much-awaited annual event of the Department of Media Studies, Christ University, Media Meet, was held from 28 to 30 August 2025. The Bangalore Central Campus celebrated the 16th edition of Media Meet by organizing several events on the 29th of August 2025. However, the pre-event workshops and guest talks started in July itself. The central theme for Media Meet this year was data art, connecting it further with democracy and digital narratives. From workshops on stop-motion animation, digital photography, experiential movie making, and more, the students got hands-on training from industry experts. Renowned cinematographer Shahnaz Jalal shared his journey about working in films like Brahmayugam.
Rahul's film always has a very elaborate character. So the nooks and corners of the house, we have a lot of empty shots of the house. We dedicate a lot of time for detailing that space. We had a lot of discussions regarding the design of each spaces. A lot of different sets we made for the interiors of the house. Kitchen is one, the stock rooms and narrow pathways in between, the main porch where the actors are sitting and playing dice and all that. So each place had to be worked upon, and we wanted to create we want to give the audience a totally different new feel, So something new, something totally different we wanted to give. In that sense, we were creating a space like that.
Additional to the workshop and guest talks, there was Media Talk, held in collaboration with the Alumni Relations team, wherein notable Christ alumni from the Department of Media Studies shared their insights and inputs from their career. They discussed about the transition from academia to job, and then further the internal conflict of choosing between money and passion. Here are two alumni, Mr. Vakunt and Mr. Tahir, in conversation about how journalism shapes personalities.
I never had a full-fledged career in journalism, right? I only interned in a few places here and there. I started off very much in the social sector. But what I did see was it's the same skills that you build in the field of journalism that are required across industries. And while a person might be working, back then a lot of them joined Yahoo, some of them joined Google recently, and they joined various larger firms. The foundation for that was journalism. Their ability to communicate, break down very complex problems into first principles, and have a platform to not only communicate those ideas, but help senior leadership break those ideas down for everyone else within an organization, pieces like that. I think all of that came from their fundamentals and their foundations.
In this current environment, it is important for us to question, for us to ask, and for us to actually know what is right versus what is wrong. And with AI coming up, you're not very sure what you see is actually true or false, right? So it makes it even more relevant to have good journalists around who can separate the truth from falsehood and make a difference where it matters. Because a lot of us privileged folks might be able to identify the differences, but fact remains that journalism is supposed to touch grassroots. It's supposed to touch the people who don't have a voice. And if we can be a voice to them, great. If we can find multiple different media outlets or avenues to be a voice, I think that's where the future is.
The main day of Media Meet was graced by renowned personalities including Shahnaz Jalal and Rebecca Mathai, Deputy Comptroller and Auditor General, Government of India. Ms. Rebecca, during her keynote address, talked about how truth does not vanish. It gets dressed up, sometimes in tailored tuxedo of statistics, sometimes in stripped jeans of a trending hashtag, referring to the misuse of data, which is indeed common in today's network society. After the event, our student, Sonu Shibu, interviewed Ms. Rebecca Mathai, and here is what they discussed about.
Hello and welcome everyone to 4Z Radio, where we bring conversations that truly matter, revolving around climate, communities, commons and communications. I am your host, Sonu Shibu, for today, and we are diving deep into a topic that is not just urgent, but transformative for this moment. That is sustainability in governance and administration. When we talk about sustainability, the first image that comes to mind is often about renewable energy, green initiatives, or eco-friendly lifestyles. But how often do we think about sustainability being embedded into the very backbone of governance? That is the administrative sector. To help us understand this better, we are joined today by a very, very special guest. Ms. Rebecca Mathai, Deputy Comptroller and Auditor General, Southern Regional Synchronization, Government of India. Ms. Mathai has been an inspiring figure in bringing sustainability into the way government institutions function. One of her landmark contributions was during her tenure in Jaipur, where she spearheaded the creation of a sustainable office building, a living example of how administrative spaces can embody eco-conscious design, resource efficiency, and long-term resilience. Her vision proves that sustainability is not just a policy on paper, but a practice that can be woven into the very fabric of governance. Hi, ma'am. It's an honor to have you here with us on 4Z Radio. Thank you for joining us. Ma'am, the first thing that comes to my mind when talking about integration of sustainability into the administrative sector is that landmark initiative taken by you in building a sustainable, eco-friendly building in Jaipur. So that was something which is a very, very profound example of integration of sustainability into administrative sector. So I would like to know how you share your philosophy behind this integration, and what are the challenges or what are the insights that you have faced entirely in your career in bringing up sustainability into the administrative sector?
I guess I would invoke Gandhi. At the heart of any sustainability initiative is about changing oneself. And so when I'm in an office, that particular environment, focusing on that becomes important. Minimizing your consumption, being very aware of every action that has an impact on sustainability becomes very important. And I think the whole leadership is by living a life that then sets an example for everyone else to begin to do that. In a way, the whole sustainability initiative is a part of a larger Government of India sustainability project, and we are all different parts to it. The problem that comes in government administration particularly is that you will have, on one hand, an avowal of the goals of sustainability, about greening and so on. And on the other hand, another silo will be saying, let's build those highways, let's cut those trees. So in government, the challenge in sustainability is not of championing or of evangelism on that. It is as to how these silos don't work in just silos, and sustainability gets integrated into every aspect of administration. Therein lies the challenge.
Ma'am, you are into civil service for over 3 decades, starting from 1989. It's been over 30 years. So throughout your career, you might have come across a lot of speculations, criticization about aligning sustainability with development, because some people often argue that sustainability often hinder the eternal progression towards development. So what is your valuable advice or direction that you want to give to the young civil service aspirants in drawing a fine line between sustainability and development?
My experience So I don't have a larger economic theory about this because this is the realm of economics. But my experience with it has been that we are in a country where, say for instance, I was posted in Hyderabad, and Hyderabad lakes was one area that we were talking about. Now there are hundreds of lakes, and these are coming from the Kakatiya time itself. They are interlinked lakes. Yeah. Each of the lakes have a purpose. Yeah. One is for restoration, the other is used as a dhobi ghat where washermen work, and so on. Some areas there are farmers. Oh. Each of those lakes are sustaining livelihood. Oh. So when you are talking about, say for instance, from an economic theory, I wouldn't know. But the manner in which this, you never really have to draw a line. Yeah. If only you were to talk to the people who live off that land. Yeah. And give them a voice to participate, which is what actually all our laws also talk about. Yeah. The environment impact, the social impact, etc. is woven into our economic frame, into our legislation. The problem is, again, putting those people at the heart. And trust me, this I'm saying completely from my experience. If you were to go back to people, they know the solution. They are not sitting there. Suppose if you were to say that you need a road to go connect from, so that in Harkitun, where I was trekking once, when I asked them, we were on the trek and I was asking them, what do they want? They want a road. They are ready to give away that land, that hill, that mountain may be very holy to them. Yeah. But they know that they're old and the sick and they have to be taken to hospitals. Yeah. There's nobody who's unreasonable. The point is to bring those people in the debate rather than sit and think that you actually know the solution. Absolutely. If you just had this humility, you will find solutions.
Yes. Finding the solution by investigating ourselves for going towards the deep-rooted sections of the society is very important. That's what ma'am is saying.
And who live off it.
So
they have a skin in the game.
Absolutely.
That water should be clean because they need use it.
Yes.
We are sitting far away in Jubilee Hills enjoying drinking water supply, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So finally, ma'am, like I said, Christ University Department of Media Studies have taken these initiatives to bring the attention of the youngsters as a whole from the university and from the premises of Bangalore to come together to do something impactful. So to urge someone to do something impactful for the society and for the environment. So we have a massive workforce. And what is your opinion as well as what is your kind of insights that you want to give to the larger student community so that they can ensure their role to be impactful to initiatives like community radio as well as through sustainable initiatives where they can integrate their future endeavors with sustainability. So what's your message that you have to give to the students?
I would just draw on an example that I had, again coming back to Hyderabad. So we were a part of a tree group and we would go every Sunday to go for walks in the park. Oh. Then I would go also, I love walking, so I would go around. Now when I go on a walk, I can see this tree has a problem. Yeah. This tree is leaning too much. Or when we go on walks again, we see, there it just becomes stumped. Yes. And then we found that there was a Chevella Mannagudar section of a stage which was up for expansion and the banyans were to be cut. Oh. Then we started this whole petition for this protection of these banyan trees. Oh. So what is my message? Please open your window, look outside and look at the trees right around you. Oh. Don't look for a big... you could. Of course, you could have a higher vision and all the dots might connect. Yeah. But please look what's right under your nose. Yeah. And if you were to really look, you will find many areas that are begging for your attention. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those remarkable insights. Today's conversation has shown us that sustainability is not just about planting trees or conserving resources. It's about rethinking how our systems, institutions and governance itself can be future ready and environmentally conscious. Here at 4Z Radio, we believe that real change happens when climate action, community engagement, the idea of commons and effective communication all come together. And today's dialogue has highlighted exactly that, how leadership and administration can inspire sustainability and change across sectors. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us in 4Z Radio. We believe to make profound impact to the society through the student workforce. Thank you.
From Media Meets Conversations and Creative Energy, we now turn to Teachers' Day, a time to reflect on the evolving role of educators. teaching today is about striking a balance between inspiring students with ideals and values while also preparing them for a rapidly changing market driven world. To explore this, our teachers Kailash Kaushik and Prachi Pengle sat down for a thoughtful conversation about what it means to teach in these times. Hi Kailash, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Prachi. It's been quite a day, but yes, doing good.
Alright, it's already September, and the first thing that comes to our minds is September 5th and Teachers' Day. So, what do you think? What do you feel?
I think first, when I think of Teachers' Day, immediately I go back to my school because it was one of the days where classes would be suspended, at least for a while. We would get one sweet. There would be some lecture about Radha Krishna and all.
So, now that you have been a teacher for over 6 years, right? That's quite a long time. To look back and look at your sort of role as a teacher, how do you look at it? What do you think?
I think especially because we teach college students who are, somewhere from 18 to 24, right? I think about teaching why and how we should do it or why we should do it. So anthropologists have told that when a child is born, the first understanding of the world is in the house, and then they join school where suddenly they also understand that they are part of a slightly larger community and they understand negotiation and all of that. And I feel college is where you grow slightly larger than that and imagine or become part of the larger imagination of citizen, nation and all of that. College education especially for me is about training all people to either perceive things slightly differently or question all the things that they perceive.
I want to come in here and say that, I think the strain or the question or the dilemma, if I may say so, that we probably think about all the time, is there a gap between what we want to teach as from the point of view of syllabus or from the point of view of media related issues and to name the elephant in the room, employability, right? So is it something that at one time they were not separate, but we were kind of told that you work hard, you do this, you will get a job, and you should aim for some sort of an idealistic way of life or something like that, right? Now, obviously, things have changed a lot in the past 1 or 2 decades. Do you feel that there is some sort of a strain in these two goals?
Yeah, I think there is, because when I did journalism masters and stuff, we still had a lot of that idealism which could be seen in class, because when the class was happening, whatever the discussion was, if we were interested, we were full into it, right? And at the end of the 4th semester, some of them went for campus placements, but most of us were like, we'll find something, right? But the motivation was still like, we are going to, fight for some ideal. There was some kind of push like that. But certainly there has been a more push towards the employability side.
And also employability has become more about how monetarily or financially successful you are, right?
And then the thing is, the employability is not employability in the larger democratic sense that, hey, you have a right to work, right to livelihood. Marxists have been pointing out throughout where education as a precursor to employment rather than education as a precursor to having good human being, or in the case of a nation, a citizen. Right? And with media education specifically, a lot of training for journalists have to be just about questioning, about trying to gather information, process it, provide context and things. And if you narrow it down to employability, I don't know if education will actually happen. We might be doing on-job training for all that I care. So I honestly feel we have moved far away from what education can be.
Yeah, because I often sort of struggle when I'm having conversations with students, and I have worked as a journalist for so long, and they ask how did you do it? And one of the first things I end up saying is that, I rarely chased money. But then, I think that time has probably changed. Yes, there is alternative media. Yes, there are a lot of dedicated reporters and all of that. But largely, most
most of the roles that you see that juniors are offered as soon as they get out of college are in the department of social media.
Right.
Right. And
correct. Which actually requires very little training about journalism.
yeah.
Right? It is almost a marketing job that they start off with. And education, I feel somewhere around, I think 2010 or something, took a hard turn towards the market where suddenly what used to be people coming out of the universities trying out and making something happen started going in reverse, where universities said, hey, you have to teach what is happening outside. What we are teaching is not exactly tailored to, hey, you're going to get this job, right? We are, unfortunately, in a university, we are not an ITI training for a specific job.
I thought especially, when we talk about humanities or social sciences, we largely try to groom, if I may use the word, groom students into trying to think more, analyze more, research more, have better empathy. I feel the idea is to become better human beings, and like the journey is towards a better society in some sense. And I really feel in today's day and age, I feel deep sympathy, empathy, everything for them, because I think they're living in very difficult times.
Yeah.
So the quintessential role of teacher as a friend, philosopher, guide, but there is no time for it while you make them ready for the commercial world outside. How do you think we can really do our best and help the students to become a better version of themselves, a better citizen, and yet make it?
Right. I think so. The other thing which I keep finding even on the internet is a lot of even school education, people are trying to say, hey, it's not useful, right? You do see a lot of content where people post things like, why did I learn algebra in school? I should have been taught how to do taxes. I should have been, something like that. I think that is a misconception that school and college will give you very specific skills.
Very tangible skills.
Very tangible skills, right? Very tangible skills. At the end of the day, algebra was tough. Very tough. But only much later did I realize that it was a way of thinking, how it's some logic you're actually understanding. You're training your brain in a certain kind of logic. And when you actually extend that, right, from school, you would have got these basic kind of logical or what we think is rational way of thinking. I think in college, we can sharpen the skills, right? So critical thinking, or as our constitution says, scientific inquiry and temper, building of scientific temper, and the ability to ask questions and have curiosity about what is happening around. Those are things which will automatically prepare them for quote unquote the world.
Also perhaps a little bit of being okay with delayed, successes.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to bring that in, but like what's the rush, right?
Yeah, what's the rush? And the thing is, it's okay if you could not understand it the first time.
Yeah.
Take some time to figure out. Also, be uncomfortable with things.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It might be a difficult reading. Be uncomfortable with it. That's the only place where you learn. And in a society like ours, which is, charging towards the market in the rat race, the university and the college is the only place where you have the comfort zone. Formal education and formal teaching especially gives you this space where I can be uncomfortable with my ignorance, while the student can be uncomfortable with their ignorance. Also, you learn how to make decisions, perspectives and stance. This is where you will solidify or,
Also to learn to take responsibility for what you learn, what you don't learn, what you do, what you don't do. Like the choices that you make.
The choices that you make, why you make certain choices, that certain choice will have some kind of consequence.
Yes. Do you remember any student who, let's say you spent time with during the course, but then went away and then came back to you and spoke about their time here or time spent with you, or
So I was teaching this course called Media Philosophy. So in one of the classes, I had made this argument that technology is extremely gendered, and most often technology moves forward where things become easy. So you had a typewriter, now you can talk and it'll type on its own. You had to manually turn a washing machine, now it does everything something on its own. So whatever it is from a complex machine goes to a more complex machine, but it becomes easy for us. Now in the gender technology thing, there's one technology which has remained so ancient that we are not able to move ahead. And although we have moved ahead, this one particular technology still sticks, which is the motorcycle. So in the class I said the motorcycle is there only because men want something complex. When there is a simpler thing like a automatic two-wheeler, which you don't need to do anything, why do you need a motorcycle with some 50 levers, right? So this kind of discussion happened, and about about a year and a half later, I get this message on WhatsApp, and it says, "Hi sir, this is from this batch. And yesterday, my parents agreed to get me a bike. I opened the website, remembered your class, and I booked an Activa." And I was like, okay, this has... So, if not for that conversation, this person might not have thought twice about buying either the bike. So now, I would take that as a win, because at the moment of buying, right?
Something happened.
There was, at least the choice was made rationally, where there was some thinking which happened
and not driven by the whole
bikes are for boys, or driven by whatever advertisement is being. We, I think, will have to, as teachers, ask students to just question, because I think questioning is a skill which you pick up in university, where you challenge authority, challenge what you have learned.
I think question, and also even if you don't get answers to that questions, you don't forget those questions. Right?
In this whole act of questioning, you improve yourself. You might have to write to get better clarity. You might have to search. You might have to get skills of looking for answers, credible answers. So there are a lot of things which especially media students might pick up. And employability doesn't mean always how do you operate a camera, because again, if you reduce it to technological skill, tomorrow it will be obsolete. It has to be something more. So I think the act of ensuring, or I think the teacher's role is to show the importance of the question. Like, I think every university should have a huge question mark at the entrance. And students should see that every day.
And remember
and walk in.
I think that's very true. I mean, I think maybe we could probably just wrap up with that thought, as to, because I feel that it need not be as disconnected as it appears
to be.
I mean, I feel that even if we continue to engage with the spirit of inquiry and questioning and research and rigor, I think rigor is something that gets somewhere, left out in this whole thing, because increasingly the whole, especially with AI, right? I mean, everything is about smart. Everything is about smart work, and nothing is about hard work, right? So, but the funniest was last week when I spoke to Dilrukshi, the Sri Lankan investigative journalist. She actually said that the old school legwork is already coming back because of too much of technological advancement. Now we are already having to come back to good old
field on ground,
talk to people, take handwritten notes, because you don't know who's surveilling, you don't know who's it's funny because it's already making a comeback.
Correct.
So I think I hope we're on the right track.
Maybe sometimes taking two steps back might not be a bad thing. And the other thing, before we wrap, I do also want to say all hats off to Radhakrishnan at the point where the Teachers' Day was made and everything, and our general culture of Guru Devo Bhava and all of that. I think the students need to realize, Guru Devo Bhava and stuff, but please do challenge them. That is the reason they are there. Do not revere and just take whatever they say. Just challenge everything you hear.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Campus Calling. From the energy of Media Meet to the thoughtful reflections on Teachers' Day, this past month has been a reminder of how dynamic and eventful life on campus can be. There are plenty more untold stories waiting around the corner, from the commons to the campus, from the climate to the community. This episode was edited by Srinivas Aditya, illustrated by Vernika Singh, and I'm Rishika Bhatt, signing off for now. Please write to us and follow us on Instagram and X. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and always ask questions. 4C Radio is an initiative by the Department of Media Studies, Christ University, Bangalore.